Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Okay, look, I already put it out there in the video. A lot of people subscribing to the page because of that video. A lot of people don't agree with me, but there are a lot of people that do. Because I don't think Crawford and Spence are going to fight, okay? If you want to know why, go look at the video. Why I'm saying that, go look at the video. Now, a lot of the stuff that I say, it's just my perspective, man. It's my opinion. I think I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm not a boxing analyst. I'm not a boxing promoter. I'm not a boxing historian. Some of you may feel I'm not even worthy to make these videos, but I could care less what you think. Because I enjoy boxing, I have an opinion, and I'm sharing it. If you like my opinion, then great. If not, that's great. But let's be respectful, okay? Because we're entitled to our own opinions, not our own facts. I'm not here creating facts. I'm trying to put a different perspective on things, critically analyze a few things. And I'm definitely not a bandwagonist. So I'm not biased. You may hear me say things that you may hear on other platforms and stuff. I'm not like that. I could care less about that. I'm not some young kid running around here just looking to come and get 1 million followers. I'm not like that, man. I'm a retired guy that's chilling. I'm having a good time, okay? I enjoy what I'm doing here. I enjoy taking a little time out my day when my kids are in school to make these videos. And I have an opinion. And I have boxed before, unlike a lot of you people who are on here who've never even sparred, so stop. So back to what I was saying, right? Keith Thurman and Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, I don't think they're going to fight. I already said it in the video. But let's say they don't fight, okay? I already said I think Thurman is the guy to get the fight. And a lot of people are like, Thurman, you're crazy. How can you say Keith Thurman? Thurman's washed up. Thurman got, clipped by old Pacquiao. Thurman couldn't knock out Barrios. I know that. What does that have to do with Thurman getting a fight? Clown? That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Okay? To you it may, but to boxing promoters and boxers who want to get a really nice payday, it doesn't matter. I think to Earl Spence it matters, but it's more of a personal thing with him. Because he felt like, Thurman just ducked him. Thurman wouldn't speak Spence's name when Thurman had those 2 belts. So I understand Spence's frustration. But from a business standpoint, when they start looking at money, and if the Crawford fight can't get made, as far as welterweights, right? Who can Spence fight? Who can Crawford fight? So this is the situation. These guys you see on the screen, man, this is what's really out there as far as the rankings, okay? This isn't my opinion. So that's Stanionis, okay? If you don't know who Stanionis is, he's the regular champion for the WBA. He just clipped the Russian a couple weeks ago. And now he's Earl Spence's mandatory for the WBA, okay? But how many people would want to see Stanionis fight? I do. I like watching him. I like his style. But realistically, all I'm going to say is he a bigger name than Keith Thurman? He's not, okay? Who can put more butts in seats if they're fighting here stateside? Stanionis or Thurman? Okay? So it is what it is. All right? Stanionis is a bad boy. But he's only, you only see his name pop up in the WBA. His name's, as far as the top 4 or 5, his name's not in the top 4 or 5 in the other organizations. But Stanionis is an excellent fight for Spence, an excellent fight for Crawford. But he's the mandatory to Earl Spence for the WBA. Now, when it comes to the WBO, Crawford is the man. But this is where things get interesting, okay? So Stanionis, I got him out front just because of his position with the WBA and him having the title. And also Stanionis is starting to become vocal. He wants to fight Earl Spence. If not Earl Spence, he's saying he wants to fight Conor Benn. Because Eddie Hearn went out there saying that, well, Eddie Hearn knows. Eddie Hearn knows if he puts Conor Benn in with Stanionis, that fight is not easy. Conor Benn is exceptionally talented, extremely powerful. He's a pit bull. But who has he clipped? Who has Conor Benn clipped? Now, don't get me wrong. I think Conor Benn is a threat. But who has he clipped? Okay, and his style is more come forward and just beat you up. He can box. He has skills. But he's more come forward and just power and overpower you and get you out of there. And Conor Benn's willing to take some shots because he believes in his chin and he believes in his power. But it is what it is. So Stanionis is saying, I'll fight Conor Benn. There's a large population of Lithuanians in England. So don't say that I'm not a draw. So, Eddie Hearn's smart. He wants to step aside from that fight. He doesn't want Conor Benn to mingle with Stanionis. So, nevertheless, this is where things get interesting, right? So again, I think Stanionis is a good fight for Spence. Definitely, I can't even see Crawford even thinking about fighting him because he won't be forced to, because he's not the mandatory for Crawford. But the name that is, for the WBO, the number one ranked in the WBO is Ortiz. For the WBC, it's Ortiz. With the WBA, you got the regular champion as Stanionis, but then the number one is Ortiz. And then in the IBF, there's no number one or two. Ennis is in number three, but then it's Ortiz. So if we do this based on rankings and who these organizations feel is the most deserving, based on where they've racked and stacked these boxers, the person for Spence to fight or the person for Crawford to fight would be Virgil Ortiz. That's the fight to make. So if Crawford and Spence don't get together, right, I still think Thurman would get in the fight. But based on the rankings, it's Virgil Ortiz. But what's going on with Virgil Ortiz? You understand? Virgil Ortiz he went through a little medical issue, weight loss or something, man, and dehydration, something. But he had something pretty significant happen to him health-wise where he was in bad shape. The man can't make 147. So they still got him in the rankings because they're trying to see what's going on, what's going to go on with Ortiz. But I can understand Ortiz not wanting to lose those positions as far as how he's ranked and to continue fighting as a welterweight because he's right there. He's right there for a big fight, for titles. He's either going to he should be the one, if everything works out, in a perfect world scenario, he should be fighting Spence or Crawford if Crawford and Spence don't fight. But I don't think that fight's going to happen. Okay? So Ortiz, he's not, I would say, because of his medical condition and him trying to figure out what weight he's going to fight at, and just the kind of just unclear path that he's on right now, Ortiz is not even someone to consider, man. Okay? De La Hoya doesn't even really talk about him right now. So we don't know what's going on with Ortiz. So Stanionis, we know, probably not going to happen, but he is becoming vocal. He wants a Spence fight. But again, when they start looking at money and who can make the most money, it's not Stanionis. Virgil Ortiz, he has a name. If he and Spence fought in Dallas, or he and Crawford fought in Dallas, they could sell out that damn Arlington Arena, whatever the hell it's called, wherever Spence fights at. They could sell that out, no problem, easy. Virgil Ortiz is from Dallas. He's out there in California getting busy right now and training out there, but he's from that way. He and Earl Spence know each other, kind of rivals. But that's a fight that has been discussed before, but right now it's up in the air. So we got to you got to just totally forget about Ortiz. Now, I think he's a phenomenal fighter, will give them issues, but I'm just saying, right now, can't consider him. So the next person, right? So Ortiz across three of those bodies, remember the WBO, the WBC, the WBA, he's ranked number one. And then the IBF, there's no number one and number two, but he's the number four. So where they have a slot for number three, they have a name and four. So out of all of these organizations, Ortiz is rack and stack the highest out of everybody. But he's not going to happen, so let's get rid of him. So then the next person, based on how people are ranked, right? For the WBO, the number one is Ortiz, number two is Ennis. For the WBC, Ennis is number 4. For the WBA, Ennis is number 2. For the IBF, Ennis is number 4. But remember, there's no 1 or 2. It's just Ortiz. And then after Ortiz in the 4 is Ennis. So Ennis right now, to me, should be the front runner. Based on how he's the racket stack in the organizations. And also as far as the most upside as far as welterweights. Ennis is a problem. Ennis got in there, man. And what he did to Delorme, let me tell you. Delorme, he may be a little over the hill. But I'm not going to say that, okay? But Delorme is a monster, man. Delorme can fight. But I've never seen him get hurt like that, And just watching what Ennis did to him and what Ennis does to everybody in the damn ring, it just goes to show that Ennis is the person that they're going to want to avoid. The man was 28-0. They don't want to fight him. They don't want to fight him. The big dogs, they want to fight him. It's just like when Spence was coming up. Whenever you have this prospect coming up, this guy who's a super talent, look like he's going to go on and be the next one to take boxing by the reins and take it into the next, decade or whatever. Guys want to avoid them, man. They're like, if I fight him, you got to pay me. Like Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia fight Crawford. Danny Garcia fight Boots Ennis. Danny Garcia fight anybody, but he wants to get paid $10 million, which he knows he's not going to get because he knows what he's up against if he gets a ring with him. So Boots Ennis is the biggest threat to, man, I'd say from 147, 154, I don't know about 160, but I would say 157, 154, Boots Ennis is a problem. 160, I think he's a problem there too. But this is the one who should be fighting Spence or Crawford if the Spence and Crawford fight can't get made. But can Boots Ennis sell tickets? Hasn't really been proven yet. But I think he could have a huge breakout if he fights a guy like Thurman. Clip Thurman, then go on to Spence or Crawford. But Boots to me needs a big name before he goes on to the 2 big dogs. Or 1 big dog, 1 big fish, okay? That's what I think. But you may disagree and say, nah, F that, man. He's ready right now. I'm not saying he's not ready right now. Skill-wise, profile-wise, no, he's not ready. He needs a big name. And this is where, okay, Keith Thurman, I keep saying, man, Keith Thurman's going to get the next big fight, Crawford and Spence. But if for some reason it doesn't happen, we got to start looking at Keith Thurman because this man is still ranked. As far as the WBC, what do they have him, man? They have Thurman number 3. The WBO, where Crawford is the top dog, they have Thurman number 4. The WBA, they have Thurman number 3. So Thurman's name is still across those 3. Now in the IBF, they don't even have him listed in the IBF. But across the 4 sanctioning bodies, Thurman would be the number 3, 4 guy. So when you look at it again, Stanionis, profile issues. Deserves a fight. Great fighter. But is the money really there for him? Virgil Ortiz, money could be there with him in the right place. Health issues. Boots Ennis, probably beats everybody. But profile issue. Can he sell the tickets? Get a fight against a guy like Thurman, clip him, he's right where he needs to be. But right now, I would say skill-wise, he beats everyone, in my opinion. But he's the profile, got to raise it. Keith Thurman. He has everything you're looking for, man. Whether you agree with me or not, Keith Thurman has everything. The man had 2 belts already. Yeah, he lost to Pacquiao. Pacquiao still could come back and beat a lot of people. But if it wasn't for that knockdown, we may have a different fight. But Keith Thurman, profile-wise, who knows him? People still think he has a lot in the tank. He does have a lot in the tank. But Keith Thurman is not the same Keith Thurman before he got married. But him getting married and everything is a beautiful thing. Happy. Seemed to be in a great situation. Beautiful, man. Beautiful child. I respect that. I'm always rooting for these guys who get happily married, beautiful kids. That's the most important thing. Boxing means nothing, especially when you have your finances in order. It's all about family. However, that time away from the ring hurt my boy. That Keith Thurman that was clipping everybody, all that lateral movement, man, and herky-jerkiness and hooks and uppercuts and countering and beat Garcia, beat Porter. This is not the same Keith Thurman. That Keith Thurman would have easily beat Pacquiao. This Keith Thurman is just a step behind that Keith Thurman before marriage. Pre-marriage Keith Thurman, post-marriage Keith Thurman. Two different fighters. So, do I think Keith Thurman beats Jaron Ennis? I think it's a close fight. But I'd have to say it's a close fight, man. I just can't rule Keith Thurman out. But I will say this. Man, what's the Puerto Rican dude? He retired, man, but he's the one. The first time we seen Keith Thurman hit to the body and just almost just die in the ring. Oh, man, I'm seeing his bald head with the tattoos, man. But anyway, man, I'm not young anymore, so I can't call name. Collazo. You see, it takes a while to process, right? Collazo exposed Keith Thurman. And ever since he got exposed with those body shots, every time he gets in a fight, he gets hit to the body. Keith Thurman's in trouble. So if he gets in there with a guy like Boots Ennis, you got to favor Boots, man, because Keith Thurman, you run a risk going to his body because Keith Thurman will counter you. And he hits hard, so he catch you right. He can have you on Queer Street. But at the same time, profile-wise, putting butts in the seats, a name that's known internationally, fight that's easy to make because he's not going to have unreasonable financial demands. It's Keith Thurman, man. Okay? And you still got to give him a shot. But I think for Keith Thurman, he's the logical choice for Spence or Crawford if they don't fight. Because I put a post in a comment going back and forth with one of the teammates, right? What a feather in the cap it would be for Crawford or for Spence to come and knock out Keith Thurman. Okay? Keith Thurman's never been knocked out. And the thing is, right, you can look at the Kell Brook comparison, Spence, Crawford, Kell Brook. You can look at Sean Porter, do a comparison, Spence, Crawford, Porter. Spence got to those guys first. Terrence got to Crawford got to Porter and Brook after Spence. So Crawford's not really getting the credit he deserves for clipping those guys. Okay? The one person who hasn't been touched by Spence and Crawford is Keith Thurman. To me, if whatever's going on with Crawford, his promotional situation and his lawsuit, in my opinion, I'd be going after Keith Thurman, man. Bang him out real quick because this Keith Thurman is still a threat, don't get me wrong, but they should be able to get him out of there. But for some reason they go in there and it don't work out well. They could take some serious damage because Keith Thurman is recently fought, still in the gym. A bit more activity. Could get that, a flashback Keith Thurman and come in there and beat Spence or beat Crawford. But I'm going to say I think Crawford or Spence would beat Thurman right now. But you just don't know in boxing, right? One punch can change a fight. But you got to give Thurman a chance to at least be competitive because he's earned that, okay? But that's why I'm saying Keith Thurman is the logical choice. But if they were to clip him, then they would have that feather in the cap. I think more for Crawford because then it would really raise his profile, his marketability, and then as far as the purse split or whatever they're talking about, it'll make that negotiation a lot easier when it comes to Crawford and Spence. But I think that's where Keith Thurman should be the springboard for these guys to get them in the position they want to be for negotiations, and especially for Crawford to get the fight. If that doesn't happen, then Ennis should be fighting to get at Keith Thurman. Clip Keith Thurman, and now Crawford and Spence missed an opportunity to get that feather in the cap because they didn't fight Keith Thurman. Boots comes and clips him. Now Boots is the man. He's already the man to me, but now he stopped breathing down those guys' neck because they're like, whoa. Everyone will know who Boots Ennis is because he needs that signature fight. So if they're not going to give it to him, Crawford and Spence, this is what he needs to look at. This is what they should be looking at. Stanionis, Ortiz, Thurman, Benn, and then you got Avanesyan over there. But Conor Benn is another name. But realistically, man, Conor Benn, they probably make a lot of money going and fighting in England because Eddie Hearn, man, and the English fans are fanatics. They'll get behind that. I think Conor Benn is a big name in England. Stateside, they still got to keep raising his profile. But Conor Benn could be a good option for someone, but some people say he hasn't earned it. Look at the competition he's fought. He still has more work to do. I agree, but I think he's definitely on his way. And then you got what's his name, Avanesyan, good fighter, but I just can't see him getting in there banging with anybody. I don't really care to watch him fight, to be honest with you. He's a good fighter, but when it comes to guys mixing it up, especially trying to get in line for a shot with Crawford or a shot with Spence, when the dust settles, man, the logical choice based on rankings would be Ortiz. If these organizations start pushing things, then you gotta look at what the WBA and where Stanionis is. Push the Stanionis for that to fight Spence because he's the mandatory. But if that doesn't sort out, then you gotta look at Ennis. And if they say, well, you know what, there's no real money there. Remember, Ortiz has health issues, but if you look at Ennis, they say his profile's not quite there. Then the logical choice is Keith Thurman. And if they say no Keith Thurman, then they'll make Boots and Thurman fight, and then after that, one of those guys go up and get busy. If for some reason Crawford doesn't go over to Al Heyman or whatever happens, man, you know, it's all up in the air. It doesn't. Everybody has an opinion on this, and I will say I think the logical choice for all of this is for Virgil Ortiz to get in there and fight Crawford or fight Spence if Spence and Crawford can't fight. But the fight that needs to be made is Crawford and Spence. I don't know what the hell they keep spinning their wheels about, man. But you know, when things start getting quiet, that means there's things are happening behind the scenes. And I know majority of people on here, we're not privy to what's going on. We don't know about those discussions. I would like to be a fly on the wall, though, I'll tell you that. Because Al Heyman is a promoter, whether you believe that or not. He wear that damn title as advisor. That man's a promoter and a manager. Everybody refers to him as a promoter. He's over there in England and other locations creating business deals for the premier boxing channel or Champions or whatever the hell the PBC is called. He's over there, man, making business deals, trying to promote his fighters, man, and boost his brand, which is the right thing to do. But don't get it twisted, man. Come on, man. Y'all be bandwagoning this, man. Use your brain. Critically think, critically analyze things, man. Let's do a case study analysis on Al Heyman from being a promoter in music to coming to boxing and becoming an advisor, right? But anyway, that's my 2 cents on these guys. Let me know what you think. You know, and I want to make sure I make this clear. Crawford and Spence, the fight that we need to see. But if those two can't sort it out, for whether it's stubbornness, whether it's the legal issues surrounding Crawford, whether it's the promotional issues surrounding Crawford, or, you know, purse split or whatever the hell it is, if somebody's going to step up to ensure that Crawford or Spence gets a stay busy fight, because they're looking at pay-per-views, man. That's where they're at. They need somebody who can help sell that pay-per-view. Now, I'm not saying Thurman's pay-per-view did, you know, outstanding numbers when he fought Barrios. That was just them trying to give these guys the purses they wanted. You know, that's Espinosa and those guys figuring out how the hell can I pay these guys the salaries they want. Got to do it on pay-per-view. So they go and do it on pay-per-view, and I wouldn't consider it a success, but they did it. But with Spence fighting Thurman, those numbers will look a lot different. A lot different. Crawford fighting Thurman, I think those numbers will look a lot different because of the two names, the profiles. But at the end of the day, we don't want that. We want Spence versus Crawford. But I'm going to tell you again, I don't think it's going to happen. And that's my opinion. I'm sure you have one. Leave your 2 cents below. And also let me know, who do you think is really the real dog out of these guys? I think Boots Ennis is the man. Some people think Virgil Ortiz is. Don't get me wrong, he's a monster. I just think with those health issues, he needs to sit back and really look at his health because the man was damn near death, is my understanding, you know, from reading several articles and listening to De La Hoya talk. He was in bad shape. And listening to his dad talk about his health, he was in bad shape. Sitting in the gym, say he's feeling the kind of way, take him to the hospital, and find out these extreme health issues. That's scary. So to me, he needs to be definitely putting his health first, because that's the most important thing. I say it's your children and your health, man. Most important things. But anyway, my 2 cents. Appreciate the support. Sticking with me, man. I'm going to keep doing my thing. Shout out to all the veterans. Y'all stay safe. And as always, I'm in the breeze.